what it then means in Sonesa Felix, 6 months into new government, na eba baimono, consistent with president promise, say, opese bill ne krebe parliament, enye private members bill, na abayin an kasabeye bill no ediako. That has not happened. Adain.
Well, it will happen. The TNF, Woko Eka, on the culture of a padaze, William Coker. Nti bibia wonemre
Asempa
media abandon no edoso papa nti by all means that bill will go back. If it will not go in the form of a private members bill, it will go with full governmental backing. The Attorney General and the Debeko Akwadam Parliament. Unfortunately, because NPP Abaya and President Akufo-Addo Dano refused to sign the bill into law, Parliament in a bill no so ewi. Nti see a sign SRC. Say to put together a bill, you need to go through a certain process. You can't also just go and pick the old bill and bring it. You must start the process afresh. You must start additional consultation. If there are stakeholders there, now among Kahu, Sabrina, which will be among Manigi. After the bill, it will come back.
But the MPs tell us, the MPs tell us, or colleagues now catch her and say, they've again presented the private members bill. I'm a speaker taking delivery of the bill.
Yes, but we don't believe it should go as a private members bill. And if you say I will say so that will happen. It is a matter of the Attorney General getting in touch and taking the necessary steps to ensure say your company can.
But what is a buying supposition on any US government restrictions are already at so far kwaje B1 ni B2 visa 5 years multiple entries you almost 3 months a single entry any ade aban ate na eden aban kafa ho
o aban ate em say ansa na omde asani de tuga na hu asase wo ho em say ya sotwe kra point na omde de tuga obata ya America ana machine a wetwe mo ko one your foreign minister no matter didn't kita hunchu ya sutire set Trump aban fofra aba no anamuntu a o to be yenya ntie say there are people within the diplomatic community in the US o many nyesa anamuntu we hu na mum na kwa say Trump aban no o medile tu o metu no no nke say o medile adwuma o bi dia tie ne say em say okotika kwa wi ne meko ama ponchene ati hu fifiri omod sa leak ba ye say the American government was planning to place 36 African countries on the ban list. They gave a tall list of reasons. It be almost say in Kuom say almost it will trust them. So that is countries that sponsor terrorism. Even also amaya almost a year so they have now almost a year with bamba. In other words, they harbor criminals. Ebinimu so ya manya eye omadehia wa ma no ne America ban no aye say odo omo befie no omo ne America ban no enko benkro mu omo ne omo ni nsawoso tele bi omo nsa be kasa lipa no, so they are not cooperating with them in the deportation of their citizens. And now so another reason any visa overstay, especially among students. E ho na Ghana e affected. We don't sponsor terrorism. We don't harbor criminals. We are cooperating with them fully on the deportation of your citizens. Nemo Madia Bako Ariano, any this year it took American Abushememwa, almost saying mercy on the expiration of their visas, especially students. America Bino Ewo Susudia say Nipper Kwamon no. The Umumu or Hanchemu Dunum. A year 15% and fire they can live with it. Okay.
FM.
But if it exceeds that threshold, and Umutu and Amo to say, Meno Kasi, almost saying, and I'm saying Ghana, our rate is 21%. A year Ghana for a quaman on it, and Kanka Omo Kusiadiano. Omumu Hanchemu, Eduno Bakun Omon sign Messi, spare Omission at the end of the year, and that's on this one, ISPA. 21% of immigrants, Omwa Equaman on America Abuchimemo almost sign back. So that is the reason why we have been added to this list. Na mamenka sesa anamonto America ban yetu no. Omo se omu tu no bosome mienu mu. Omo maye bosome mienu se ye no mu ninsa woso na ye nkyere se yetu anamo a ebi adanse ye se ye behwa ne ya asem no hu bibi. So we have a 60-day timeline to comply with omudimansa omoye no. But even before anamonto no ABC enra no na aban penifo asase etu anamon se ye no medinsa woso wo asem no. And in fact obeka ya beye na watwe ba akoko mienu ni eye for minister honorable Samoku Tabla otu kwan eko America bushimemu oko State Department any under Secretary for African Affairs ekodi nkomo na ekota asem we hu Asempa nti asase etu anamon tie wa we mu se ento se na edusia and 60 days nso no na yitumi aye ne ya aso America abanani na omeyi yefi sa lisi a on the account nti ehun asem no enya no kre tani bi no mo heka se ye asem a Ghana aban na ka and afọ minister akenti na akoba ne sa. It is not true. Omo ekasa no, they simply don't have the facts. They are engaging in mischief. These are the facts as I've outlined.
Ain't a temporary restriction for 2 months.
A temporary restriction. And enye limited to Ghana. 36 countries. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, they published the list. It was a leak from the USA Department. But you who are no more listeners. But we have been affected because of star threshold of 15% of people who don't come back after going to America. No, across we could be 21% in here. But we are working to rectify it. When that happens, they will restore our position.
In 2 months, no, or more expectation of us here. They say Ghana for now overstay the young for Mumra and I say, Yenya, what are
I don't think that I don't know about realistic expectation. Basically, they want us to engage the citizens. Any almost 1 American member will be at least they are within the reach of the embassy to engage them to let them know the consequence of overstaying. This is a big cancer say, of course, you may come and I'm a ponchania to free. And I'm in the Yom year in a mouth of ra and come more per queen yakono on Huapoka. They need to be made aware. Say, Omen to Sanamona, a idea they are 38. And then also, medium commercial, this also should enhance screening process during visa processing to make sure that they are satisfied. Say, before they issue the visa. So, almost one family else. And we believe that enter Busumi no. Now you to me, and so I know that was happening.
Two questions I hear for Eddie Abreme, Mimusa and Afi and family. Number one, say, Obi, ask Honorable Felix, is it true that the John Mahama administration changed the U.S. visa policy for applicants coming to Ghana from a 5-year multiple entry to a 3-month single entry visa? Yansuya Yebibisa to U.S. for Ghana na?
As far as I know, but I can always find out and get back to you on it, yes.
Okay. The second question, and it's Obi, ask Honorable, what is the government's position on the South African gay couple who came to take pictures at our dearest monument, Godi Ewotema, Nidie Eni? Honorable.
That kind of display of unnatural sexual behavior, no, it's Yaganamra. Ukraine, FM, are buying anybody. Multimedia will be ADHD. And it is not something that has the endorsement of government. It was a desecration of national symbols. And so you cry. Now, I know because I need Ghana. In fact, as of the time, I didn't get to Ghana. And here, I say no money on my name. And it's some more money more. And I don't better and so. But any idea, you're better, I'm an issue. Yes.
But if they've committed a crime against our law, sir, we cannot liaise with our South African counterparts now. Well, it
is an option. Now, you have to consider whether it's an option you want to pursue, given all the implications involved. But it is not out of place. Because you have to consider whether it is something we want to do, it is worth it, and the implications thereof, no, but all that has to be considered and stand away to an amount.
Yeah, because
but Obika said they should be extradited to face we are Nipanidika. The person is right to say so, but we have to consider everything before we proceed in that regard. Yeah.
Our colleague, Honorable Reverend Intim Fodjo, Osi Obi, we have submitted the bill 4 months now. Speaker has approved it. Why shouldn't this bill go as a private member's bill? What are the deficiencies in the bill as was supported then by John Mahama and now? What has changed?
Obi, Reverend Tim Fodjo, he has no locus to ask this question. Because he said, what was his position when his president, President Akufo-Addo, refused to sign the LGBT bill? If he's able to answer that question now, I will answer the question he's asking.
Yeah, but sponsors of the bill,
no, but yes. So as a sponsor of the bill, no, Abria Akufo-Addo refused to sign it. No, what did he do? If he is able to answer that, then we can have a discussion. But I have told you what our position is on the current status of the bill. My answer is that. But the person he's asking is hypocritical. You see, he is not a genuine supporter of the bill. But the no simply because he didn't want people to bash the NPP. There was no commitment to other no more, Otherwise, Abra President Akufo-Addo refused to sign the bill, no, he would have taken action. And if he was a principled person, he would have protested publicly. Where is the record of his criticism of President Akufo-Addo for failing to sign the bill? But as for your supported bill, it is absolute. President Akufo-Addo, Mama, we will actually give it governmental support. So that is not in question. That is not out of question. That must say it is not in dispute. What is in dispute is in Tim Ford's commitment to the bill. And no, he should clarify.
Yeah, but I guess his substantive question was the bill as was presented by the private members, and no anomaly repeated this time as Speaker Ajia Tum. What is different from the Abain Bepes or the Bebano from the private members and the
as a private members bill? No, a young crown you to one among. Tabai the Bemwa, it has greater force and agency. But before we go there, no, in the same way, he feels obliged to comment on government's position on the bill. No, I can't be the MP and I'm
also MP.
I'm also questioning his sincerity to the whole process. Say Adentina or Mampeni Akufo-Addo. One sign bill, no. Na Sabra, the young say or no in Team Ford one can't. Why did he keep quiet? If he was a man of principle, if he believed, just had been the young one, why didn't he do anything? So to be answered, he will have the moral authority to come and comment again on the current status of the bill. In fact, say Amampeni Akufo-Addo sign this bill now, and we won't even need to go through the process again. And
that's true.
So that for me is a more substantive question than the officers is here. As for the time that the bill is tabled, only he is an MP just like myself. Say, Parliament, we are masters of our own rules. So as and when it is deemed necessary, it will be tabled. But government is committed to enhancing that bill and lending support. But he should show us his position when Akufo-Addo refused to sign the bill. So to me, yes, sir, actually, he publicly voiced opposition to that stance by the president. Then he will have more authority to ask any question on the bill. But as it stands today,
yes.
Only one can be that.
To be fair to him, was saying the message about say Obi, my video urging President Akufo-Addo to sign the bill is public record in Parliament and on several media platforms. And you say let Felix know.
Urging. So he was urging the president. Urging. Half-hearted commentary after they came under pressure. No, it is not the same as strongly protesting. In fact, to show that he was a man of principle, no, he could even have resigned from the party to show that the need to say bill no about the Yamra. Now, we in Parliament and make half-hearted comments because journalists, the camera better one, speaker better one, and America better one. It does not suffice. The same zeal or the business question we should have been on display when President Akufo-Addo refused. As we speak, President Akufo-Addo was the head of the government. In fact, he was a deputy minister in that government.
Yes.
He was a prominent MP at the time. His actions did not show said he was genuinely concerned. Just I don't know. I'm a it's at this stage there, and your politics as usual now. Between us and them, we know who is genuinely committed to this bill. We all saw the shenanigans on court just so that a brand never swan or Mampini Akufo-Addo one sign the bill. We all know. Mr. These things will not sidetrack us. We are committed to ensuring say Sa Obraboni LGBT to Nyadiadi. Ebinsi or Maimuna Emma Meyadia Ebeka Brabo. That we are sure of.
But Felix,
and we will do what it
you also
agree,
sir. MPs are no more side, are no more sponsors of the bill. Now were very vociferous time I'm opposition. No, now they are all quiet. They seem to be quiet now.
Quiet by the same through the process. Bobby, they've gone through the process already to get the bill passed by Parliament. The NPP gradually came on board, and I use the word again, gradually. I am and they were not genuinely interested in passing that bill. It is a matter of Parliament tabling it for consideration and passage subsequently. That's all. In fact, if he says that the same bill has been brought out, what else should the sponsor of the bill do beyond bringing it to Parliament?
The advocacy.
What advocacy?
The bill was in Parliament when Honorable St. George was all over the place.
Almost now, 8 years, including Team Football, 8 years. But now Parliament, 8 years. It was not until St. George and others, Omutu Asempa, when they gradually joined. And I don't know, it was just to avoid public criticism. Now, what's now 8 years? You couldn't pass a bill. Yeah, about 4 years. No, you say overnight we should pass it. Where is the standard? Where is the standard? No credit was in some kind of way. Adia went to manage 8 years. Also, being for 4 months in here. How does that even jive? In fact, when everything was finished, all that was required was for President Akufo-Addo to pick a pen and sign, green pen to sign. Now they are 1 year, 8 years.
Akufo-Addo didn't do it. You campaigned against it. The Ghanaian people say, okay, John Mahama can do it. Within 6 months, there are popular bills, 4 or 5 I go through, including tax bills. So this could have been passed as well within this period.
But are you suggesting, say, every bill should have been done in the last 6 months?
That's not what I'm saying. But
yes,
I'm saying,
that's exactly what you are saying.
For this bill, it was so a critical bill, which defined the campaign.
Every bill abiding with the young man is important. But the fact is that we can't do everything within the 6 months. It is not possible. If our Parliament, your recess, 2-3 months. Yeah, the sound could be. So Parliament has not even started for 6 months. If I had to for about 2 months cumulatively. That's why I'm asking the question. So almost 8 years, almost 1 amount. How can they possibly purport say and then they are demanding say within that short period that parliamentary agreement the bill should have been passed? And mind you, it is a new bill. It has to go through the process again, as it was the last time. And the point is that we will not even be having it if the likes of Team Football had exerted the needed pressure on Akufo-Addo to sign the bill. 1 year, and yet he is here asking questions. On what basis?
Honorable, my